Welcome back to the Chronicles of the King podcast, where we take a deep dive into the life and legacy of Elvis Presley. I'm Megan.
And I'm Tessa, and we are two 20-something Elvis fans dedicated to keeping his legacy alive with a research-based approach.
Whether you're a diehard Elvis fan or simply curious about a man who changed the course of music and culture, you're in the right place.
We are here to unpack the myths, explore the music, and get to the heart of Elvis's enduring impact.
Every other week, we'll bring you research, untold stories, and fresh perspectives on Elvis's journey. From his humble beginnings to his legendary performances, we're here to shed light on it all.
So settle in for a podcast made with a lot of TLC for the man himself, one story at a time. Hey guys, welcome back to our series on Elvis's movies. So today we are going to be talking about 4 movies from like 65, 66, around there.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about Girl Happy, Tickle Me, Harum Scarum, and Frankie and Johnny. Now, these episodes are getting harder for me to do. I'm not gonna lie. It's really like not good.
We're almost there.
Just because there are fewer good movies in these like final this half
of the mid-60s.
I swear all of these, like, I watched them and I don't remember what happened. So I don't, because they are blurring very
Either that or you think it happened in another movie, I feel like, because they all just start to blend together.
Yeah, not good. So, but the highlight, I would say, of this week's episode is Girl Happy. Yeah. I liked it. It was cute. It's Diane's favorite movie.
Yep. It's one of my favorites. My mom's favorite.
It's like a cute, lighthearted little, you know, if you want to show someone like this is the formula of what Elvis movies were like, but like not a bad one, this one you could show.
Yeah, I agree. So it's the ones after it that are just a little bit questionable. Okay. But I guess we'll get into it. Okay. So like Tessa said, our first one is Girl Happy. Girl Happy came out April 7th, 1965. It was directed by Boris Segal. The production distribution company was, I apologize, UTERP, and MGM. The cast included, of course, Elvis. We wouldn't be doing this series without him.
Is he? He's in this one?
Yeah, he is. Did you not know that one?
I don't remember.
Of course you don't, after a while. There's also Shelley Fabares, Harold J. Stone, Gary Crosby, Jacoby Baker, Jimmy Hawkins, and Mary Ann Mobley.
Yep. And so our little log line, you know, our debrief about what this movie is going to be about is a rock singer,
shocker,
hired to chaperone a gangster's daughter in Fort Lauderdale. So Elvis plays the character Rusty Wells, who is a musician and much like Elvis himself, a ladies' man. But now we get into this phase of when he's playing music, Tara pointed this out, he's always like with a band because they like needed to give the Beatles, I guess, like in the movies before it was kind of around this period. He is usually just like a solo singer, but now he's got a little band always, but he's the main attraction.
So I think comparison is like the 50s, the 450s movies versus like the mid 60s. But
so he's performing with the band. I mean, what else would he be doing?
As an Elvis character, I don't see anything that he wouldn't be doing. But our plot kind of starts off when the guys, they all want to go to Fort Lauderdale. Boss kind of tells them no. And so
for spring break, right?
They're for spring break, yes. They want to go where it's nice and warm, get out of the snow.
They want to be girl happy, if you will.
They want to be girl happy. And their boss is like, no, you're going to stay here a little bit longer. So Rusty and the band kind of trick the boss into saying, hey, your daughter's going to get in a lot of trouble there in Fort Lauderdale. And I know. Girls Gone Wild. You're going to want us to chaperone, but, you know, we just can't do that. So a little bit of reverse psychology there. And off they go to Fort Lauderdale.
What? I see a plot brewing.
No.
I see it. I see something happening there. So Rusty, aka Elvis, and the guys are like getting paid to go down to Fort Lauderdale to take care of Valerie, their boss's daughter. And at first they're like, oop, nerd alert, because she has glasses on. So
Yeah.
like obviously she's ugly. And then she takes her glasses off and they're like, wait, she's kind of pretty.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that's all you have to do is just take your glasses off. It kind of is true.
As Tessa wears her glasses right now, if
Yeah.
you're not watching.
I
Sorry.
mean, yeah. When I put in my contacts, I feel like that scene in the movie, what She's All That.
Yeah.
Like if I straighten my hair and take out my put in my contacts, I'm like, I'm that girl. And I feel that Valerie was having the same experience.
She was that girl.
And
take off the bathing suit cover up, take off the glasses. Yeah. There you go.
She's, you know, bearing it all.
Oh,
Just saying.
So when she did that, they realized, oh no, our job's going to be a lot harder than we thought it was going to be.
We thought she was going to be a recluse.
Yeah.
But she's actually hot. So,
so that's the whole premise so far. All while this is going down, Mary Ann Mobley's character, Dina, she's like Elvis's like first chick in the movie, I think. Yeah. And she's kind of the girl that keeps getting ditched because Valerie is going out and
shenanigans.
The shenanigans. So
Rusty's always like, oh, dude, we can't like get hot and heavy because
gotta go watch this chick.
Gotta go babysit this girl.
Sorry. And then there's like a jailbreak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because she really got into shenanigans.
Yeah. And in the jailbreak scene, Elvis is dressed as like a woman.
To get out of jail. Like he has to blend in.
And I just wasn't expecting that from an Elvis movie. I was, because the girls had told me that it was coming, but I wasn't. I just didn't see that one coming.
It was really fun to watch. You watch this movie?
And he's like doing all these feminine mannerisms. Like so weird. It's very weird.
I feel like Tessa's comment was like, you're still keeping the dress on?
Yeah, because then I had the dress on for like a really long time afterwards.
So that's where we are in the plot right now. After that, I think Rusty's kind of like, you know what's going to make my life a lot easier is if I just romance Valerie and then like put her in my show. And I guess that would just be much easier than trying to keep an eye on her from a distance. So
yeah, and his true feelings start to, you know, surface. He's like, oh wait, I kind of like her. But obviously there's drama because Valerie discovers that Rusty was hired to like spy on her by her father. And so she's like, ugh, I'm so mad and betrayed. You know, thinks that it's like a bet situation, that he's not really actually romancing her. He's just doing it
for the money.
And that she's mad at her dad. But don't worry. They figure it out.
Yeah, of course.
And one of the shenanigans ends up with a boat in the pool at the motel.
Oh yeah, I forgot that guy's name. Romano. She thinks this one guy Romano. And so they decided to tow the boat and put it in the pool. Because what else would you do?
But it was like a beach.
Girls, spring break.
Yeah.
It's good. I think Shelley Fabares also, Elvis and her together, I think make a good movie. Absolutely. But we got a few themes that we picked up on. Just a few, like not many at all. First one, of course, is love and romance.
Classic.
It's not an Elvis movie without a little bit of it. Obviously, just like the relationship between Valerie and Rusty throughout the movie, and that's kind of it. That's the romance of it.
Then we got, you know, some little freedom and fun, spring break, collegiate drama, Girls Gone Wild. I don't know. And then there's also like, you know, it's protective, masculine family energy.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Something like that. So now we're going to get into a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff.
Which I feel like is the best parts of this now.
Yes. Yeah. So from the book Elvis and the Memphis Mafia by Alana Nash, she talks a little bit. So she interviews a bunch of different Memphis Mafia guys, and they talk about how he was increasingly disillusioned by these movies. And so Marty Lacker says, quote, about 64, 65, Elvis started saying, Colonel, I'm tired of doing these same old damn movies. The turning point was Girl Happy, when the script was so lame and the songs like Do the Clam were so obnoxious. When he had to film the scene where he sings Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce, he went around the whole day ranting. I thought this was like a little funny because it's really not that bad of a movie
compared to the other ones.
But I guess if we think about the ones that like come after, because I can't even remember.
Yeah, compare them to the ones
before this.
prior.
What were the ones before this?
Like all of them?
The ones just before this one. I can't remember.
Let me grab my list. We did Fun in Acapulco, Kissing Cousins, Viva Las Vegas, and Roustabout. Okay, so I guess compared to doing a movie with Barbara Stanwyck, doing a movie with Anne Margaret, I can see
Kissing
how
Cousins
this is like not worst. Very original. Yeah,
the worst. I think it has to be. It's got to be.
We'll get to that. Debatable. But still, Elvis was not a big fan of these movies. He definitely hated them, but even though he hated them, this is coming from Marty, also from Alana Nash's book. He still had star quality. And so this is a quote from him. He said, on Girl Happy, he had all kinds of visitors, starting with President Johnson's daughter, Linda Bird, and her friend, George Hamilton, the actor, who was from Memphis. Probably Colonel set that up. Linda Bird and Hamilton wanted to come over to MGM where they were filming, and Elvis agreed to meet them in this big green field just behind the swimming pool. They started walking towards us, and they were flanked by these Secret Service agents with these real serious looks on their faces. And when Elvis saw them marching around the field to come see him, he said, okay, you guys are my security team. Let's meet them halfway. He had us flank him just like the Secret Service flanked Linda Bird and Hamilton. And he said, keep your eye on them and stare them down. So we did. And it looks like some big summit meeting with all this formality. The Secret Service agents looked a little confused. They thought they were there to protect Linda Bird from us, and we were standing ready to protect Elvis from them. Elvis talked to him for a couple of minutes, and then we all turned in formation and walked away. We stood it. Oops, sorry guys. We stood it as long as we could, and then we broke up and laughed like hell. Elvis was in a small portable dressing room on the set one day before he had his big trailer. I stepped out for a minute to smoke a cigarette, and behind these stacks of boxes, I saw a figure walking from one stack to the other. I couldn't make out who it was, and then finally out came a young Paul Anka. He was about 23 then. I think he was wanting to see Elvis, but he didn't have the nerve to knock on the door.
I like
lots of visitors. It's a little bit of a long story, but it's like that's what was happening on set, and I think that's what made the movies tolerable.
That he still he didn't like doing these movies, but he still could kind of feel like a big shot, I guess, if people like the Secret Service were like that prompted the Secret Service having to be there were visiting him. And
I mean, that's gotta be pretty cool for them.
Also the shenanigans of like the Memphis Mafia, like it's just so funny. Another thing that happened on set was that Elvis tried to pursue Shelley for braids. And so from the Elvis What Happened book with like Dunleavy, and it has Sonny and Red and Dave Hebler. So Dunleavy says Presley was relentless in his pursuit of Shelley, one of the romantic interests in the film. And then, quote, he would be trying to promote her all day on location, says Sonny, but she just wasn't interested. She was going with Lou Adler, the man who went on to become a big record producer. It was a blow to Elvis's ego that he couldn't get to her, but she was very faithful. When she did marry Lou a little later, Elvis said she had to go and get married because she knew she wouldn't be able to go through another movie or resist technique. It really was an ego thing with him. Presley consoled himself for his failure to get his Febreze to go out with him by dating Marianne Mobley. But then Marianne Mobley said, it was like working with my brother when she talks about working with Elvis. Yeah, so I just,
Like, ew.
he kept up trying to
Yep.
romance, but I think it's funny. He
And
said
this
she had to
was,
marry him. You know?
she had to, but this was the first film that they did together, and they would do.
Yeah,
Was it? Did they do two or three together? Now I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Anywho, but Mary and Mobley will also come up later.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have some like, of the reception of the film at the time. The first one we have is from the New York Times. So the first one is, this is coming from May 27th, 1965. Says Elvis Presley has been hopping all over the map in recent years for movie locales. Girl Happy, his latest color musical, opening yesterday at the Forum and other houses, landed him at Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where the boys are, remember, thousands of them avidly eyeing thousands of beach beauties coming spring. That's the text of Elle's new Metro release. This time, though, the entertainment runs thin. Elle and three pals in a musical combo arrive on the scene to keep an eye on their boss's daughter, Shelley Fabres, and a cute chick she is. And guess what happens? That's it. That's the picture.
I mean, it's true, but
True.
there's way worse
Yeah.
movies. Like way worse.
Oh, absolutely.
Movies. And at least this
Absolutely.
one's kind of cute, like sun, beach, Elvis,
Fun.
fun. It's lighthearted. It's like a chick flick.
Mhm.
Like
That's
this
a good
one
way to
was
describe it.
fine. It's fine.
But I like, it's interesting how even back then they were pointing out that it's just like new locations that were surrounding these movies,
but the same.
and that was it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then this is also for that same article, said that, quote, the saving grace is the steady stream of tunes, as rhythmical as they are unoriginal, belted out by the star and the other youngsters. That's one thing for those who care. You can always count on Presley frolic. But like, what's the biggest song from this one? Happy.
I'm trying to use my brain to think instead of using my resources, because obviously, I mean, like, do the clam sticks in your head just because it wasn't the greatest?
That one does stick.
It does stick, unfortunately.
Oh, Puppet on a String. That's a good one.
Yeah.
You'll Be Gone.
There's nothing else really memorable except
Do Not Disturb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that's not one I feel like you hear
fine.
quite often.
That one's raunchy. It's time to
I can tell by the face.
Like, it's guy
Tessa's face by this whole scene was like playing out. It was like hilarious.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
okay. Goodness. It's a little forward.
I know.
Yeah. It's okay. It's the best one in this bunch.
It's the best one in this bunch, yes.
Easy.
Easy. Okay.
Now moving
the
on
next
to
one.
the next one, which I did love. I literally just watched it. I don't remember what happened in the movie.
Be careful. Some people might come after you for these opinions.
Sorry. So the next one is Tickle Me, which came out June 3rd, 1965. It was directed by this guy again, Norman Turog, produced and distributed by Allied Artists, and our cast includes an unknown of the name Elvis Presley, Jocelyn Lane, Julie Adams, Jack LaLanne, Mary Anders, and Edward Faulkner. I don't know where the word Edwin came from.
I don't know. But the logline we have for this is a singing cowboy sings with an all-woman dude ranch.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. You ready for this one?
Sure.
I would like to preface that I think most people describe this movie as like a Scooby-Doo style movie. So if you like that, I think you'll enjoy it.
I like Scooby-Doo though.
Oh, and okay. But you didn't like this.
It wasn't my favorite.
No, I think it's definitely different, I think, than other movies he's done, because it does have that mystery element versus like usually he plays some kind of rebel who sings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know.
Okay. All right. Do you want to get us started on the plot, though, at least?
Sure, I guess, if there's one.
Okay.
So Elvis plays the character Lonnie Beale, who is a good-natured, classic Elvis character and fun-loving guy. And he's a skilled mechanic who works at a local ranch. And then he ends up at this all ladies dude ranch where he's hired by the owner to help fix up this old amusement park. It's getting aroused about, I guess. And then Wani realizes, OMG, the ranch has this like unique idea. The workers are part of this weird scheme, but it's kind of a fat camp. Like, I don't,
It's 100%.
like they're there to lose weight. Like, it's giving problematic. Like, I don't know. Very odd. And they just refer to the women as their measurements. Like, it's like very odd, very strange. And
It's
Elvis
really
is
strange.
also there, and they're wearing like scanty little shirts. I don't know. It's like very
lots
odd.
of choices. Lots of choices were made in this movie. Interesting that we just added this in was that the ranch was actually called the Circle Z. So, you know, kind of like Circle Z, Circle G.
But Elvis had a ranch in Mississippi called the Circle G Ranch, but he bought it in when 67 and
late 66, I think.
Yeah.
Early 67.
This movie is from 65, so I thought it was kind of interesting that the fat camp is called Circle Z.
Whoa.
I don't even know.
Who knows? But of course, there has to be some love interest. So Elvis's character meets Vicky. Okay. They have chemistry, I guess. She works at the fat camp. She's not like an attendee of the fat camp. And you know, obviously she's
nobody at the fat camp is like more than 120 pounds. So
yeah,
I don't know.
And they all dance too. There's like all kinds of there's like yoga, I think, at one point.
I don't remember.
It was like some weird exercise they were doing. I don't know. But she's the daughter of a wealthy, you know, ranch owner. There's a little bit of mystery there. Like she's got some like weird family mystery that they're taking care of whatever throughout. The mystery is the plot. The fat camp has nothing to do with it.
It's just the setting.
You know, it's a choice.
Mm-hmm. My cat.
So I know.
Yeah, so there's this underlying mystery. Lonnie, the Elvis character, discovers these like weird and wacky characters, and he's like, oh wait, but Vicky, she's kind of so cutie, but she cares more about finding out the secret treasure rather than falling in love with him. You know, she's a girl on a mission. And then this is when we start getting Scooby-Doo. Lonnie stumbles upon this like series of clues, and then he gets wrapped up in the search for the treasure, and basically he helps, you know, he likes Vicky, but he's like, oh no, I hope that she doesn't just like me because I'm good at problem solving and finding these clues. There's some tension. She screams. The only thing I like remember, I literally watched this yesterday. The only thing I remember is that she was screaming her head off. So I don't know about that. Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
There's some criminals, comedic danger.
There's like, like they're being like, they're trying to solve this mystery. There's people chasing them. That's like the Scooby-Doo aspect. And I feel like it was, I don't even know when Scooby-Doo came out. I don't know if there was.
It's around that time.
Inspiration taken from Scooby-Doo, but there's like people like dressed up weird like Scooby-Doo who are chasing them, trying to get in the way of them solving whatever mystery this is. We won't spoil just because maybe you like a good mystery.
It came out first aired in 1969. So after.
Okay.
So it's in retrospect, we think of it as a Scooby-Doo.
Interesting.
Mystery. But
so there we go.
Yeah, and don't worry, the treasure is like they find it. Yay, and then yay. Okay, so some themes we got: mystery and adventure, jinky scoop. We got some fun, escapism, and playful treasure,
and then some silliness and humor because again, it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and this was my summation. It's definitely offensive. Why are all the women talked about by their measurements? Then it's a fat camp. I seriously think it's not good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really, it was not my favorite.
Yeah. It's
I
not
watched
like,
this one on like 1.5 speed because I just,
which that must be entertaining.
yeah, maybe that's why I don't remember what happened.
Probably. Anywho, again, behind the scenes stuff is usually the
Yes.
more interesting things than the actual plot of the movie. So,
So Elvis was like getting into his badge collecting era. So Marty in the Elvis and the Memphis Mafia book says that they were getting ready to go out to California to make Tickle Me. Elvis had been made a deputy sheriff of Shelby County, which is the county that Memphis is in, that day, and he was feeling kind of cocky. He thought that was a big deal, and he really wanted it. So he started getting into like extracurricular activities and like other things to try and find some fulfillment. I just thought this was an interesting example of starting this whole like collecting badges and like getting really into it because there's more like it's something to do that's not work. But he also purchased a lot of bikes, like motorbikes. So he was getting some many hobbies.
oh yeah, obviously distractions, but this one is also from Elvis What Happened. And the quote we have is next came Tickle Me. Presley's boredom and now manifested itself in his buying 10 motorbikes. While the boys had a ball, the neighbors of the Presley household on Perugia Way were outraged. The Memphis Mafia was one thing, but the Memphis Mafia as Hell's Angels was another. Presley took his motorbike affair seriously and dressed accordingly, decked out in a la Marlon Brando, complete with black leather sunglasses and yachting cap.
Which I feel like these stories, like it just shows, I don't know, just how like unfulfilled he was by making these movies, that he was like having to do all this extra stuff to feel some like some, I don't know.
Well,
like,
I mean,
and we know the prescription usage like upped during this time too.
Exactly, yeah.
So
I just think
like,
what he was doing as a job wasn't fulfilling enough, and so he had to find things to actually make your life feel fulfilling.
And his spiritual like search was around like when he deepened into it was at this time too. Like he was just kind of clinging to anything that was not making these dumb movies, basically. So
yeah, exactly. Anyhow, but that's just our hypothesis.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say. So some recession. I mean, they didn't like this movie. So the New York Times in June 1965 said, Elvis had better watch his step after Tickle Me, his latest color musical film. This is the silliest, feeblest, and dullest vehicle for the Memphis Wonder in a long time. And both Elvis and his sponsors, this time allied artists, should know better. I'm just saying, did they not think Kissing Cousins was worse? Because it's definitely worse.
It's worse.
It's worse.
Maybe they forgot about it by then. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Variety, June 16th, 1965, they said Presley takes his character in stride, giving a performance calculated to appeal particularly to his following. His comedy timing is right for most of slapstick. Giving him something there.
Yeah, a little something.
He was trying to make the most, I guess, of what was dealt to him.
Yeah. And they said, quote, the substantial hold that Elvis Presley wields over his public will continue with this allied artist production, more slapstick than Presley usually undertakes. Screenplay by Elwood Ullman and Edward Burns is whiskey thin, but allows the singer to rock over 9 numbers from the past albums to good effect. And a wind-up finish, fast and corny, should tickle the palates of his natural audience, as well as furnishing a field day for Moffat specs. So this was another thing we talked about was the songs for the movie are all recycled songs. Like it doesn't have a new soundtrack. It's just songs he had already recorded. They were like, yeah, let's just put it in this movie.
Yeah, we'll just find a weird scene that this could fit into.
So that also feels to me like very much like excuses to just have him singing.
Oh, 100%.
Like there's no reason for him to be singing.
And I would have to look into that because I know some of them were recycled.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe that's like a business thing. Like, okay, let's recycle some of these songs so we can put them on a record to sell. Because this one didn't have a full length LP, it had just an extended play. So I think that's like 3 songs on each side, 3 or 4 on each side. You're welcome.
So next we have what I really, going into this whole like watching these movies, I thought this was going to be the worst.
No,
But it's really not.
I think this one is the worst.
Like ever out of all the movies,
Out of all the movies,
I think Kissing Cousins is the worst. And then Harum
I
Scarum.
don't.
And then Double Trouble.
But like, I think Harum Scarum is so like outlandish.
Yeah, but it's kind of
That's
funny.
why.
I was more entertained by it because I was like, this is so stupid.
Okay, you have a point.
And Kismet, so the next one we're talking about is Harum Scarum, which came out November 24th, 1965. It's directed by Gene Nelson. You will pay for your crimes, sir. Produced and distributed by For the Productions and MGM. And it has our lovely leading lady again, Marianne Mobley. We also have Fran Jeffries, Mila Ansara, and Jane Novello. I'm pretty sure there's no like Middle Eastern person in this entire movie. So it's problematic. It's okay, carry on.
Anywho,
Just say.
the log line for this one is an American film star is kidnapped in the Middle East. Story plot.
That is it.
I guess that is the whole plot. Period. Everything else is kind of just like little bits and pieces here and there. But Elvis plays Johnny, is it Tyrone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. He's a Hollywood star, and the movie, like, and I feel like if you don't pay attention, you will not understand what the heck is going on. So, like, the first bit of the film opens up, and it's like a clip of Elvis in a movie. He's like fighting a tiger. Tiger dies, and so they're at like a film premiere.
Karate chop right to the neck.
Right there, that's it. Lays the tiger out. And so after this like film premiere, he gets invited to like this Middle Eastern country by like this king guy.
I don't know.
And that starts the plot.
And then he gets kidnapped by people who think, oh, wait, he's like actually that strong that he could kill a tiger, even though that was just a movie.
Yeah.
And so they think, oh, Johnny can now kill the king. He wakes up and he's in a harem. Like, maybe I didn't hate this movie as much as I thought I was going to. Like, it was really bad. It was really bad. Okay. But I had entertainment of it because I had like a couple drinks. And then
you were watching with us.
Yeah, we were watching it with the girls. And so it was like kind
maybe
of
that adds to why it's kind of good.
Yeah, like that, my positive feelings towards it are nothing to do with the movie.
No.
And they're not really positive. They're just like there.
Yeah.
Because my positive is just that Kissing Cousins was worse.
I'm trying to like compare the two though.
It's really bad.
It's maybe this one is just so bad that it's almost funny.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm feeling.
But anyway, back on track to the plot. So yeah, he gets like kidnapped, wakes up in a harem. He's like in this like palace sanctuary place of the kidnappers. And so then he like escapes. He meets like this slave girl who like helps him escape. He like meets up with this other dude who's like also, and I forget the names of these characters. I'm not gonna lie.
It's yeah, whatever.
Probably some of them I couldn't even pronounce if I saw them.
Important.
No. He meets up with like this other guy who's like also escaping with him.
And then there's several like interesting songs like is it Hey Little Girl?
Yeah.
That one's weird. Kismet though, it's kind of not bad. I like that song. Okay.
There was another one I can't remember. I can't remember.
Weird. There's some weird wardrobe choices, totally culturally insensitive. They get bound by the kidnappers and they're like, you have to kill the king. But wait, the slave girl who helped him in the harem was actually the princess. And she's like, no, don't kill my dad. And then there's also like a dwarf person with dwarfism. I don't even know. And Johnny finds the princess, he finds the king, he tells them, oh, you're
Like,
about to be assassinated.
I didn't want to do it. I was like put up to it.
Yeah. There's the deep plot point of the assassins were like directed by the king's brother. It's getting Hamlet. I mean, don't worry, it's fine in the end.
Yay.
That was it.
That was it. So obviously our themes are kind of like misunderstanding, obviously the confusion, be like, oh wait, you can kill a tiger, or like, oh, you're going to kill me. No, that was the misunderstanding. There's also like heroism. He's got to, stand up and fight back these kidnapper people. And then like the cultural clash between like Western civilization, like Middle East. I feel like it was like the Western civilization's like interest with the Middle East that kind of sparked this movie.
Yeah, but everything is like so mixed up. Like it's like not actually that it's like what country is that, like it's just all very generalized. Like it's so bad.
Like nothing.
The harem, the accents, the brown face. I mean, it's just all not good. Like it's not good.
Costuming, it was
not good.
They were choices. Anyhow.
So there's some behind the scenes, and I have a funny story at the end of this one. So Elvis was pretty unhappy with the movie, but don't worry, because he's Elvis, he still had many romantic pursuits behind the scenes. So in the Elvis and the Memphis Mafia book, Lamar says, Elvis had all kinds of women out there in California while Priscilla was in Memphis. I'd go out there and it was like a revolving door. He dated singer-songwriter Jackie DeShannon for a few months and co-star Miriam Mobley during Harum Scarum. Harum Scarum, what a horrible picture, good God. Elvis, a sheik costume. That was one of Sam Katzman's specials. They called him King of the Quickies because he did everything fast and cheap. The sets rattled, they were so old. The temple set was left over from Cecil B. DeMille's King of Kings from 1927, if you can believe that. The only good thing about that picture was that the colonel got voted down when he wanted a talking camel added to the storyline. So when I was reading this and putting this in here, I was like, I misread it as there was like a talking camel in the movie. Like I thought like, oh yeah. And I had just seen this movie and I was like, oh yeah, there must have been, that I just forgot about the talking camel. There's no talking camel.
There's no talking camel.
I would have believed it. And I did believe that there was one, even though I've just seen the movie. So,
well. And again, I'm starting to question like how much she's paying attention to these movies. What's going on upstairs? I don't know.
Not much.
Okay.
They're not very intellectually riveting.
Yeah, you can drift in and out of the movies as you will.
Yeah, then I'm like, who's this blonde girl now?
I'm like,
I don't remember.
Don't know.
What's his name in the movie? I don't even know.
I don't know either. And that's the thing. After a while, it's like I feel like the characters start to get like these very, very basic names. Like Mike, Johnny. Who knows? Anyhow, the reception of the film also wasn't like phenomenal. So Variety, October 7th, 1965 says if Presley were any more relaxed, Perry Como and Bing Crosby would have to retire. But he gets into the general spirit of things and he's Elvis. With anybody but Elvis Presley to gun possibly, this would be a pretty dreary affair at the box office. Elvis, however, apparently can do no wrong. Even if producers do manage, and Harum Scarum, which suffers from a lack of imagination in providing Starr with a substantial showcase, but enabling him to belt out 8 song numbers, will probably meet with responses similar to Presley's past entries.
Yup. And the New York Times in December of 1965 said, Mr. Presley wanders through the improbable whimsies of Harum Scarum with all the animation of a man under deep sedation. But then he had read the script, which has to do with a Hollywood star, a mythical Arab kingdom, and some oil rights. I literally don't remember anything about the oil rights.
That's why
every line.
Yeah.
Is there?
I'll give. Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that. Every line of dialogue sounds like a song cue, and about every other one actually is. So, yeah, I would agree with that assessment.
Absolutely.
He does seem to be under a deep sedation. And probably
like, I'm just gonna show up, do what I gotta do, and go home. Yeah. Anywho, But that brings us now to the last one. I know we've suffered through all of these that don't really have a whole lot of plot. So we're now getting to the last one, which is Frankie and Johnny, which was released March 31st, 1966. The director was Frederick de Cordova. The production company was, oops, for some reason, let me get you all that information right about now. The production company was F&J Pictures, and distribution company was United Artists. So a little bit different than what we had before. But then the cast, we have Donna Douglas, Nancy Kovac, Sue Ann Langdon, and Anthony Elise. I think at this point, though, like the cast, like when you think of like the 50s cast, like I think he was given a lot to work with, especially when you think about King Creole. Even, again, going back to Roosevelt, working with Barbara Stanwyck, the Las Vegas, got to work with Anne Margaret. I just think they were going so, the budget was going down and down and down. I just don't think they had any other supporting cast to work with him.
No.
Anyhow.
No. And so the logline for this movie is a riverboat gambler has to choose between his true love and the woman who's his lucky charm. So Johnny is a compulsive gambler who is like down on his luck. They visit a gypsy, which is offensive also, but and they keep mentioning it. And he gets his fortune told. The woman reads tea leaves and tells Johnny, don't worry, you'll soon meet a redheaded woman who's gonna bring you some luck. And then he meets Nellie Bly, who is like their boss's on again, off again girlfriend. And Nellie is like, oh yeah, I'll be your good luck charm, play the system. But then Frankie is all like not happy about his foe. Good luck charm girlfriend. Yeah, there's a whole song about that's written about the scenario, something like that.
Yeah, and the whole riverboat thing that eventually like they dock in New Orleans. There's like a masquerade costume ball thing. Nellie, Frankie, and this other girl Mitzi, who is like the snitch earlier in the movie. They're all dressed the exact same as Madame Pompadour. And they're all like scheming.
I see something coming.
We see something, trouble ahead, maybe. And they're all like scheming and be like, oh my gosh, we're gonna catch like Johnny in this like little plot, or like prove him wrong. Like, oh, you don't need a redhead. And so Frankie's like posing as Frankie's like posing as Nellie, and then he wins, and she's kind of like, aha, because then he kisses her and was like, oh, wait, wrong girl. Whoops. Oops.
And yeah, so I'm like, where are we even in our notes? Johnny wins some money at the roulette, and then Frankie's like, oh, I'm throwing your money out the window because you kissed this other chick.
Well, you thought you kissed the other chick.
Well, yeah, and you thought you kissed the other chick. I literally watched this yesterday and I don't remember.
Probably also at 1.5 speed.
Yeah, and then there's a gun, like shenanigans. The gun is switched like from a stage gun to a real bullet. And then Johnny's actually shot for realsies. And so then Frankie's like, oh, I forgive you for,
like, I'm so sorry I did it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I threw away your money, but don't worry. He stands up. He's not hurt. He's good. And because he's wearing this lucky medallion that Frankie had given him. So
he ends.
Yeah.
That was it. I feel like that had the most straightforward. There was no subplots, nothing, just that.
Easy. Yeah.
And so some of our themes, we got love and redemption. Obvious one because of like Frankie and Johnny, Nellie and her boyfriend. We got trust and betrayal again because both relationships are like, oh, you're cheating on me with somebody else, blah blah blah. And second chances, obviously, at the end of the day, they're like, oh, wait, but we didn't mean it. And like, we should sort of, continue.
And I mean, we have the banger of a song, Petunia the Gardener's Daughter.
Oh, yeah.
We also have What Every Woman Lives For, which
honestly, though, like, I kind of like that one.
Oh my gosh, What Every Woman Lives For is a band?
Yes, but wait, it's only if Elvis sang it, okay? I will preface that. It's just when you watch him, he just like walks around, you're like, ugh. Yeah, there was another one, and I forgot what it was. That one had
and so we have a little behind the scenes. So guess what? Memphis Mafia guys, they're around as per usual.
Oh, yeah.
So this is from Alana Nash's book, Baby Let's Play House. She writes, that May, Elvis began work on Frankie and Johnny at MGM, where he became the first star in studio history to have 2 dressing rooms, one for himself and one for the guys. The irony was not lost upon him that Tony Curtis's dressing room had been prepared for him. So, kind of funny.
Kind of cool. Which was like where the eyeliner thing came from. Mm-hmm.
And this like we had the most about this. So shockingly, in a big twist,
this is a big shocker.
Elvis did not romance his co-star. So the rest of this kind of stuff is about.
So Lamar, also from Elvis and the Memphis Mafia, he said Elvis had so much shit going down that it's kind of amazing he had the presence of mind to even make those godforsaken movies in the spring of 1965. He did Frankie and Johnny at MGM with Donna Douglas, which, side note, she was actually in, I learned this from my father, she was in the Beverly Hillbillies. You're welcome. She was Ellie Mae. Oh, see, I jumped ahead. She was Ellie Mae in the Beverly Hillbillies. She was a former Miss New Orleans, which is kind of cool. But this was one co-star he didn't try to date because Donna was a smart cookie. Elvis laid that religious stuff on her, and she knew about as much as he did. So they talked about books and religion, which is kind of cool.
I found this interesting too. And then this kind of reiterated later in Elvis What Happened. So Dunleavy writes, by 1966, Presley, having lost any real interest in the movies he was doing, had started to get interested in philosophy, religion, and books. During the filming of Frankie and Johnny, he broke with tradition by not dating his co-star Donna Douglas. Instead, Presley took a genuine intellectual interest in her. Sonny recalls, quote, she was quite religious and she talked a lot of sense. Elvis would talk to her and he started to get interested in books. He always was quite self-conscious over the fact that he was not well-read. For about there on in, he really started getting into books, all kinds, religion, the occult, the meaning of words, everything. So instead of dating, they just sort of talked books and religion. So I thought that was pretty interesting. That
it is interesting.
It shows like what he was actually devoting his time to. Yeah, like, when he had any moment to not be like making these kind of bad movies,
or just a distraction.
Spiritual. Yeah. So I liked that they didn't romance it up. That they just kind of like became friends.
But there was also some guest kind of like. Girl Happy. There were some guests on this set as well. I believe this is also from Elvis and the Memphis Mafia. The quote we have is, at the same time that Frankie and Johnny was being shot, Robert Mitchum and Shirley MacLaine were making Seesaw. Mitchum visited Presley on the set.
I think this one is from Elvis What Happened, actually.
Okay. Offered him a starring role in a film property he owned called Thunder Road. He saw in Presley what apparently a lot of Hollywood film executives failed to see, and he thought Presley would develop a first-class serious actor if he had meatier roles to play. Either the upfront money wasn't tasty enough for the Colonel, or he thought it would have broken too much with the Presley tradition. In any case, Presley passed up the chance. The movie was a big success. And it's like stuff like that, and then eventually down the road, A Star is Born. It just kind of just makes you like, ugh. Like
I heard West Side Story too. I've heard West Side Story, Tony and West Side Story, that there were like opportunities for him to have been a serious actor that were never taken up for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I think I personally always see it more as a financial thing. Yeah, that it probably came down to what the Colonel was like. Oh, you're not going to get the same amount of money, right? You wouldn't get the same billing, stuff like that.
Yeah. So receptions. Womp
Yep.
womp. So the New York Times in July of 1966 said that dull thud resounding from neighborhood theaters yesterday was the latest Elvis Presley movie, Frankie and Johnny. This United Artists release should have been one of his best, but even compared to some previous Presley turkeys, this one sheds feathers almost from the start. Never has a vehicle formula seemed so feeble and so obvious.
Like, it's kind of interesting that a lot of these quotes, like the receptions from like news article reviews, they even back then, before all the other movies came out, were like, this is just a vehicle, a song vehicle. You're just going through the same cycle, change the girl, change the location, change maybe a little bit of the theming, and then you got yourself a movie. And they go on to say the trick was and still is simple and logical. Pick some ripe locale for the color cameras with Elvis front and center amid acres of pretty girls. Cook up some kind of plot or situation that keeps the tunes flying and the tempo perking.
Yep. And Variety in 1966 said about the same. It said, Frankie and Johnny proves to be nothing more than an hour and a half romp, providing a showcase for Presley's songs. He does 12 of them, including the title too. So,
yep,
we're getting through them. I mean,
we're getting through them,
guys. I really
tough.
like. Today, my mom was like, "Just don't do the rest of the series," because I said,
we have to.
I know. I said normally, like, I'm so excited to record the podcast. Like, I love like doing stuff for him and like, you know, researching Elvis stuff. But these movies, I'm sorry, y'all.
They're a little challenging.
I really do understand why I didn't watch all of them. Like, I actually do, because I love Elvis more now than I loved him, obviously, when I first got into Elvis. And I still am like, I can't. I can't.
Honestly, I think the next episode is going to be harder.
Yeah, the next one we have Paradise Hawaiian Style, Spin Out, Easy Come, Easy Go, and Double Trouble.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know. I've seen Double Trouble, and I will not.
Chili Fabrics.
Easy Come, Easy Go. Is that the yoga one?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's the one. Oh no. Okay.
That's the one that made her stop watching them.
That was the one that I was like, I can't watch any more of these movies. I was like, I really can't. So.
But Espino has Chili Fabrics, so
okay.
tolerable.
I can rock with it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm down.
And then I think the last set will be okay.
I've seen Charo. I've not seen The Troubled Girls, and I love Change Habit. It's funny. So
yeah,
I will be rewatching.
It's come very Tully Moore. I like.
It's got Mary Tyler Moore. It's like corny. It's supposed to try to be woke. Like, I like it. Like, it's not a good movie, but it's like a good movie for a
comparatively speaking.
Yeah, I like it.
But we'll be fine. Obviously though, for these four, we said our favorite was Girl Happy.
Easy. 100%.
Easy. Tell me if you like a good Scooby-Doo kind of mystery. Sure. Harum Scarum, if you just want to laugh.
Drunk, it's great. It's
good. And Frankie and Johnny, I don't know if that's good for.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I could never rank these movies because they're like such a blur. Like, if you like, I couldn't rank them of like, I mean, like all of the movies, like I couldn't rank them. Like, I know the worst ones, but the middle ones are all like good.
I would say Love Me Tender through maybe even Rouseabout. I could say Fresh in the Mind. I can tell you what they're about, all that stuff. And then afterwards, I just don't think I could.
I'm looking at that list too, and I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I could up to probably about Rouseabout tell you the themes. Well, I guess up to Girl Happy, and then after
that, it's like, I don't know.
I have no clue.
And then the last ones, there's like a couple questionable ones, couple like, okay, that's tolerable.
But Plan B, I'm interested to see. Okay, there's going to be a lot for behind the scenes on that one.
Yes.
So,
but till then, that was it for
then. Yes. That's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Chronicles of the King podcast.
If you love what you heard, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps bring the King's story to life.
You can follow us on social media at the Chronicles of the King for updates, upcoming series, and more. We'd love to hear your input and any of your favorite Elvis moments.
Until next time, keep rocking and rolling, and we'll be back soon with more stories from Elvis's extraordinary life.
With TLC, we'll see you on the next episode of the Chronicles of the King.